out and fix something, it's the first thing we're going to look for. This little angle iron is actually a precision tool. Leave it in the cabinet if we ever have to come back in a line. There's also 2 gauge blocks over here for those 2 machines. This is a gauge block. There's one that's labeled, you have an R panel. There's one for chain side and one for operator side. The bottom shafts are fixed. They're locked down, so we're only adjusting the top. But you can adjust it out of parallel, because if you raise up on this one, you don't raise up on that one, obviously your shaft's going to be like this. If you completely lose your reference and do not know where you are, does that sound right? I don't know. It was a long night. This should actually fit between the bearings very snugly, like a shim. And that's exactly what it is. It's like a giant feeler gauge. And it fits between here. Obviously you take the guards off to do this, but when it kind of wedges itself and has a nice feeler gauge, then you know generally you're back at 0, because it's kind of where we set it. But with that in mind, one guy has to get on one side, or girl, has to get on either side. When you both feel that you're square with the house, generally the dial's on 0, then you know if you go all the way through this machine, bottom and the top stanchions, these are known as stanchions, therefore you are at what we call manufacturer's perfect gap. That's where we set the machine. Then you can come back and adjust. There's a deal in the book here that overbend die locations. Now this one has a different panel in it. We're going to try to get you one for your M panel, but here is your R panel. If you wanted to affect like rib 6, or rib 6, this rib past 6, past 1 is at the beginning of the machine, 2, 3, and so on, this is what shows what angle it will affect. So if you get like a very lazy angle and need to stand that rib back up, the past 6 would affect that one. So it kind of gives you a guide to help you along the lines if you had to adjust. Generally, if you're running an R panel and you're running 26 gauge, we right now, we're running some secondary material. So it's not going to run as great with secondary material as it would with being grade 50. Grade 80 is more prime. It'll always look better with prime material. It's kind of better in, better out. I've always had that theory. The more junk goes in, the more junk comes out. I'm not saying the metal's junk, but there's a difference with secondary material. If we can make secondary material look that good, I think we're in really good shape. So this book is a huge guide to doing a lot of different things, a lot of adjustments. So that's how to adjust the machine. Is there any questions on adjusting it? Okay. There is a very neat way. There's 2 things on the shear that's very important that you will have to do. One is adjusting the shear blade, and slitter goes for the same thing. It's done identical. And also squaring of the sheets, which can be very important, because obviously you don't want it to be at an angle. You do not want to measure for squareness once a sheet is formed. It'll never give you a true reading. You need to actually have it in a blank. I'll come down here and I'll show you.